All right, you guys, peep game. Welcome to the live. So, I decided I'd speak on a particular subject that starts to float around and make its waves around the internet. And I have decided that I need to address this. Now, this is just a rumor. You've been hearing about this for a couple of weeks now, or should I say a couple of months prior to the song being released. But now it looked like it's some validity to it because you hearing that this is in the process of happening. But rumor has it that Drake and his legal team is trying to get a cease and desist order for Kendrick Lamar not to be able to perform Not Like Us at the Super Bowl. Not only if that is true, one of the weakest moves I've ever seen from an artist. Now you're talking about censorship and trying to censor another artist and trying to take away his freedom of speech and freedom of expression. And that would send a bad message. But then again, they've been slowly but surely trying to take away your freedom of speech. And it almost looks like we're headed towards the Demolition Man days. And I'll talk about that on another video. You know, definitely got to talk about that. Because some of the stuff that was predicted on Total Recall and Demolition Man is starting to come to fruition. And it's starting to come to the light, and it's actually happening before us. All the Demolition Man, the Terminator stuff, and the Total Recall stuff. But we'll talk about that in a separate video. Stay tuned. But nevertheless, this is a rumor that's been floating around about Drake, and Drake is really starting to show what a beta male he is and what a sore loser he is. My thing is, if you take on somebody and decide to engage in a rap battle with them, if you lose, just take your L and move on. And at this point, how could you even respect Drake at this point for basically trying to possibly issue a cease and desist letter in order to Kendrick Lamar and his team not to perform Not Like Us? That was the essence of a rap battle back in the days. You know, at the end of the day, as long for the most part as you didn't, you know, basically go in on somebody's family and their wife and all that kind of stuff, didn't get too deep, it was cool. But to a certain degree, there wasn't supposed to be no limitation. But Drake is just showing that he can dish it out, but he can't take it. And you Drake fans, if you defending this, something is seriously wrong with you. But then again, this is the new generation of so-called manhood. Dre is acting like a straight up chick, if in fact this is what he's doing. You have to move on. At the end of the day, we all take losses. We've all taken a loss before, one time or another, a few times, but it's just how we bounce back. Jay-Z lost to Nas. He moved on from it. You know, Kool Moe Dee lost to LL Cool J. Cannabis lost to LL Cool J. Even though it was a good rap battle, Cannabis gave LL Cool J a run for his money, but at the end of the day, LL prevailed. It happens. But is this where we getting at as a society? This is an example that we're setting. Dre, you supposed to have a son. This the example you want to set for your son? When you lose, you show that you can't take your loss like a man and just say, you know what, he got me. I have to find a way to bounce back. But then you resort to basically trying to censor somebody. I'm not for censorship. It sends the wrong message. But this is this new generation of so-called black men. And I really put emphasis on the terminology with Drake, so-called black man. Because to me, Drake is more inclined with his white side than he is with his black side. Not to mention that he comes from Canada and he was primarily raised with his white mother. And for him to be resorting to this, he's showing his feminine side, estrogen. He is proving that he is the title of that song, Not Like Us. But you've seen a lot of feminism that's being inserted into primarily black men. They made it uncool to be masculine, to conduct yourself like a straight male. Because they find black masculinity intimidating. So what they try to do is they bring in the dudes like Tyler Perry. They bring in known black man haters such as Oprah Winfrey, Gayle King, a few other people that push this agenda where they like to attack black men on a regular basis. Like I said, all this stuff is tied together. And that's what they've been doing. So Drake is acting like a chick. And it needs to be said. You trying to sue somebody to keep them for basically winning a rap battle. Drake lost, and he needs to accept it. But trying to get lawyers involved, and then you seen the stuff that happened with Rick Ross and stuff. Nobody was disrespecting Canada, and then you had a few people that was sitting up there thinking it was cool. You had some hunky like calling Rick Ross the N-word, and a few of them. So I'm just saying, where are we going as a society? It's a plot basically to emasculate black men. They don't want black men to be the leaders of their community. This is why some of these dudes are pushing this fake black woman so hard, and Kamala Harris. And I'm gonna say this again, and I don't give a damn what black woman get mad. Y'all can't be our leaders. You can't lead. You can't teach a black man, a young black man, how to be a man. The end results is right before our eyes. This is why you getting dudes like Roland Martin and D.L. Hughley, Ricky Smiley, a few other people that don't conduct themselves like men. That's sitting up crying about whether you want to vote for a woman that went out of her way to disenfranchise men from a community that she's supposed to be part of. Listen, I understand that you have a job to do, but when you single-handedly primarily target the so-called community and the so-called man from the community that you want to vote for you and help you become president, when you have receipts and paperwork to prove that you strictly had people that was from your office targeting black men. And at the same time, you took Nina Simone's house, and who can forget that? And the thing is, you can't have a objective debate without people trying to talk over you and stuff, trying to scream over you. That's why, for the most part, I don't try to debate or have a conversation with women, because at the end of the day, they get too emotional to where even if you making a valid point or you trying to get your point across, they try to talk over you, which is counterproductive, and you get nothing done and you don't establish nothing. Because one thing I do is I try to listen. At the end of the day, I want you to check out basically a panel that we had on 7A's channel where we was talking about this whole Diddy thing, where we didn't get emotions involved and we conducted the panel like men. Nobody talked over each other. Everybody got a chance to make their valid points for the most part, and it went very well. You listen at a panel between four, alpha black males, me, 7A, 2 Raw, and LB. That's how it's done. It wasn't ghetto. Everybody made their points. Everybody got a chance to say what needed to be said. That's how you conduct a panel. Wasn't nobody screaming over each other, because once again, it's counterproductive. But y'all check out that panel when we was having a real conversation about the Diddy thing, where no emotions involved, and people are trying to explain stuff and break it down to you, because that's what you need to listen to, that type of stuff. None of this screaming and exchanging insults and all that kind of stuff. That's how an alpha male handles it. But right now, what you have is beta males that they putting in the forefront and using them to represent black men. Those type of dudes don't represent me. We can disagree with each other without like trading insults. And that's why I feel out of favor with certain people. That's why I got in with certain people, which at the end of the day, I don't need your favor, because I'm on my own. And like I said before, that's why I got into it with a few goofy niggas over the whole Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford thing, and then over, the whole thing with Bobbitt about, taking the potion. I couldn't have, a man conversation and a difference of opinion without some bitch boy that looked like Baby Animal trying to insult me, over the phone. But would have been a whole lot different if I saw you in person. But it is what it is. And then people getting mad because you want to be objective with the Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford thing. People making fake threats, lying on you and all that stuff, and for some reason thinking you were scared. I mean, that's the problem. They got a problem with you, and you don't know why they got a problem with you, but then they not man enough to explain to you why they got a problem with you, because it's a fake problem. And that's everything what's wrong with black men. I've said this before. Behind the scenes, if me and 7-8 had issues, if me and CJ had issues, if me and my correspondent Migs had issues, we talk behind the scenes like men and we fix it. There was a lot of fixable situations, but people got too emotionally involved, and then it got to the point to where now it's probably unfixable. It's like, okay, it's at this point, just don't. If you walk towards me, then we just gonna have to figure out what happens next. But that's the generation we live in. This is the new generation of black men. And I use that term black man very loosely because a lot of these dudes don't know how to handle a situation like a black man. You starting to see the end results of this. I raised him by myself. I was the mother and the father. At the end of the day, you wasn't the mother and the father. And you black women need to stop putting that bullshit out, because it's capping, it's bullshit. You are just the mother. And a lot of times you have ran the father off. And we don't want to have those conversations. Either you ran the father off, or you just picked the wrong type of dude to procreate with, and And this is the end results of when you pick the wrong type of dude to procreate with. Because I stopped falling for this notion when the father isn't around, it's just the father's fault. A lot of times it's the mother's fault. You're starting to see more and more that a lot of times it's the mother's fault. Some of the stuff that you see going on where the mother play these games to where they don't want the man involved. They'll say, this is my baby. I carried him or her for 9 months, but at the end of the day, I've carried my semen my whole life. You can't have a baby without me. But they'll say this is their baby, but then when it comes to financial support, then they'll say it's our child or it's your child. But then at the end of the day, they don't want you to be involved. Now I'm gonna talk about a situation with that's going on with Jesse Williams and how this affects the children. And how sometimes, or a lot of times, which is coming to the forefront, how the woman is the problem, and particularly the black woman. A lot of this stuff is generational. A lot of this stems from what was directed towards black men and black women to divide the black household, to split up the black family. While trying to dismiss the stuff that's going on and has went on with the black family for years, decades, generations, and how it was appear to be the leaders of our household, and look at the destruction. So people, like I said, there's gonna be some black women that's gonna be mad at me, shaking their head, don't disagree, that's gonna disagree with me. That's fine. But my reply to you is, actually, do I give a fuck? I'm still gonna say what needs to be said. I'm not finna back down. I stand on everything I say. I can't be intimidated by, that's the thing. I can't be intimidated by no woman. You call it misogynistic, you call it whatever, you call it being a male chauvinist, but I'm just telling the truth. Everybody has a place. And when we stop pretending that we're equal and that we're all the same, we're supposed to do things the same, the better off we gonna be. I'm not worried about y'all black women being upset because I'm telling y'all the truth. I'm not one of these dudes that constantly cater to y'all and pander. The same way I hold niggas accountable, I hold y'all accountable. So you can't say that I just attack black women. I'm harder on the brothers than I am the women. But this stuff with Drake all ties in together. Even though Drake was raised by a white woman, he showed his female tendencies. But then again, he started hanging around a lot of these black rappers. So that could possibly be where he started to develop his female tendencies, because at the end of the day, you don't sue nobody to stop them from singing a song. We're not supposed to be censoring people. That's sending a bad message. But that's the mentality a lot of these dudes have. They can dish it out, but they can't take it. My thing is with me, anybody that came for me and said something about me, if I felt the need to respond, I responded. Now, some people didn't like the way I responded, but at the end of the day, I did what I felt was necessary. And for the most part, I don't regret it. Anybody that came for me, I came for them back. But there is this thing where people got this notion that the black man is supposed to tolerate everything. We're not supposed to speak. We always are supposed to just take it on the chin. We have been conditioned, whether it's by society, whether it's by religion, and a lot of things have handicapped us. Sometimes I think to myself, a black man been crippled and by religion. And then sometimes I think, do we use religion as an excuse to be a coward? Because at the same time, people love quoting stuff from the Bible when it pertains to certain things. Well, it says in the Bible, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do that. Okay, but then you cherry pick, you use the Bible when it's convenient, but you don't use that measurement on a regular basis. So that's the problem. And no, I'm not ranting on religion. I'm a religious person, but at the same time, I'm just saying, sometimes I feel like people use religion as a crush, and particularly black people use that as a crush to conduct themselves as cowards, and particularly black men. But they've long been this thing. And like I said, shout out to Kevin Samuels. He said this before. He said basically when some black woman came on his channel trying to check him about basically what put him on the map. The argument he had with the very healthy, voluptuous black woman. And she called herself trying to check him. And it went terribly wrong for her. Talking about, are you gonna apologize? And he was like, apologize for what? And he put out something that I've been saying for years when it pertains to the black man. You got way too many people out here thinking that they could disrespect us. Because at first, a lot of people did respect us. But now, that seems to have abandoned us. You know something is wrong when you got Indian people that, I'm talking about, the Hindu Indians trying to disrespect black people. Everybody be trying to disrespect black people now. It says, when did it get to the point to where now everybody is trying to disrespect black people? When I was growing up, them type of people knew better than to disrespect black people. But now you see this thing where everybody feel like it's a free-for-all to disrespect black people, and then when you respond, they try to say you being emotional. So everybody is allowed to defend themselves, defend their community, except black men. And that's why I don't be listening to these, you know what I'm saying, these dudes when they come on my channel when I'm talking about certain stuff. And then they'll try to say, you guys are being too emotional. Oh, there you go again, using the race card and not like I care. And they try to use psychology, fake psychology and ideology that's not working on dudes like me. All that, well, if you make something about race, it just shows you how mentally weak. Like, dude, is you kidding me? And I'm gonna say this once again. You think I care what some non-black have to say about me? And see, that's why a lot of people get mad at me, because then all of a sudden I'm the bad guy. As I said before, you're gonna respect me. You're gonna respect me, you're gonna respect my channel, and you're gonna respect the people that's on my channel. Because I don't fall for that stuff where I'm not supposed to say nothing. Like I said before, what some non-black think about me? I don't do the, it's fact because a white person said it. Superior, mentally superior. Well, if that's the case, why you be trying to mess with my channel then? If you are intellectually and mentally superior, but you will say words don't bother you. Okay, if words don't bother you, then okay. Why are you messing with my channel then? this goes to show you the hypocrisy in these dudes and how full of shit these dudes are. That's the real problem. That is the real problem. As I said before, they can dish it out, but they can't take it. But at the same time, they sit up here and try to shame and try to bully black men. They try to do it with every particular subject. You get these dudes, they try to tell black content creators what to talk about, how to conduct it. See, that's the difference between me. I don't fall for that stuff. And I'm not gonna sit here and always big up other males and men that's not part of my community while I'm always sitting up here belittling black men and people that look like me. No, I'm not Stephen A. Smith. I'm not, Jason Whitlock. I'm not those type of dudes. I'm not Charles Barkley. No, I'm not. I don't roll like that. I don't constantly try to play the Negro whisperer or the Negro dog trainer. They try to train black men and treat them like dogs and want them to act a certain way. I ain't one of these dudes that constantly put down men from my community and big up dudes from other communities. I don't do I'm not a watermelon man. And I refuse to be one. But yeah, I just wanted to put that out there about Drake. I never was a fan of Drake, but Drake further proved to be why I was right not to ever support him. I could probably say that I never put money into Drake's pockets. I never went to see him perform. I never bought any of his albums. I never bought any apparel because, like I said before, Drake is a culture vulture. Drake had to get taught how to be black. Or basically, because it almost comes across now as what you see going on with Kamala Harris. It's almost like he's a chameleon. And people need to just say this about Drake. I never saw Drake as a black man. I saw Drake as basically a dude that just happened to have a black father. There's a difference between being a black man and somebody that's trying to learn and how to get in touch with their so-called black side. I just always saw Drake as a fake. I mean, his name is Drake, and it rhymes with fake. Bars. The whole time I seen this dude and started doing research on him, looking at his background and all this kind of stuff. Oh, Canada? Then his background, what his religion is, and I'm not gonna go into that because y'all already know what happens when you start speaking on people from that community. They start messing with you, unless you Ryan Garcia. And that's just how I always saw Drake. And now he's further solidifying what I thought about him. To sit up here and try to sue somebody to keep them from performing a song, that just shows that you got a lot of bitch in you. That is the most cowardly thing you could ever do. Sorry. Somebody got to say it. Might as well be me. That's the difference between me and a lot of other content creators. I strictly and truly say what's on my mind. I'm not afraid to say things that should be said. Politically correct doesn't work all the time. Sometimes you have to have people loosening up their ties and and loosening a button from their polo shirt. If we don't have this conversation, then things ain't gonna be fixed. And I just see in our community a lot of things need to be fixed between black men and black women. But at the end of the day, I feel like black men may need a little bit more fixing than black women. At the end of the day, black men, take your place. Stop letting other people decide where you belong. Once again, since when did we start caring what other people thought about us? Since when did we stop caring about each other? Since when did we start worrying about making other people upset when they do it to us on a regular basis and they don't care? Ask yourself that question. Real talk. Anyway, I'm out.